People, deluded, I'm back again. YouTube's N'Golo Kante. Brighton 2, Arsenal 1. People, I don't know what to say at this moment. I don't know whether to break this game down. I don't know whether to talk about my frustrations. I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do, people. Because on one hand, I'm absolutely livid, and because by nature, that's what I'm on, innit? Like, I love football, and if I was playing like how some of these men playing, today was hard for me, people. It was hard for me, because I'm looking at the pitch, and I was in some good seats, people. Like, I'm seeing Lee Dixon, I'm seeing Alan Pardew, and the pre-game stuff. I'm seeing all of that. I'm right, like, you see where Bellerin and Aubameyang was first half on that right-hand side? I'm literally there. This is like Sunday League football. Like, I'm essentially on the touchline. Good seats, shout out to the plug. Good seats, people. Feeling good today, people, going into the game. Not good, like, to be honest, just blind optimism as a fan, innit? I know Arsenal have been poor. I know we are poor this season. I want the season to end, people. We've played, like Mo, I believe, said on AFTV, we've played 20% of the season, Arsenal now. I want that other 80% to be done tomorrow. I'm done with this season, people. It looks like a mad thing. Forget top 4, forget top 6. It might not even be a top 10 thing if we keep playing like this. Because teams are coming at Arsenal, walking their way with 3 points, expecting that. Do you get it? I bet you them Brighton man are saying to themselves, they don't even care that they beat Arsenal. They're probably sitting there and saying, people, boy, we should have kept a clean sheet. True say the goal we conceded was a poor goal from us. We're playing Arsenal. You know what I'm saying, people? Somebody, when I done my AFTV interview, I heard somebody tell me that Brighton haven't won away from home all season. I cannot verify that, but I'm pretty sure they beat Watford away from home last season. I mean, away from home this season, sorry, people. So that would be 2 wins on the run. This is their first win. It's their first something against a top 6 side as well, people. I can't remember the exact stat that Opta said, but it's something. It's typical Arsenal giving guys some new statistic. We were atrocious today. Now, obviously, there was individual mistakes. Again, the second goal, the guy, you can read what he's doing. He's cutting in. The first goal, like, we're switching off at a set piece, and on top of that, we're like, there's about 5 chances to clear the ball. Midfielders again not following runners. Defensive calamity, to put it perfectly. Apart from Kalajin, actually, I think he did alright today until he came off injured. Midfield runners, strikers, we're playing wingers. We're playing our top goal scorer as a winger. We're forcing Ozil into the side, and we're probably forcing Joe Willock. We're probably forcing the front three and Joe Willock all into the side, people. And there's nothing wrong if that's what Ljungberg wants to do, but he's quickly seeing that you can't play creative midfielders on the flanks, or Bayman on the flank, probably, and I'm not criticising Lacazette, to accommodate Lacazette centrally, because as you saw today, Lacazette, he ain't got a yard of pace, people, really. For all his technical ability, there's no point spraying balls over him. We were poor. We were only really in this game for 20 minutes. I would even say, being at the game, it was a weird game, because I'd say it started off, don't get me wrong, Brighton, they did a number on us. Game management, formation, taking their chances. I think they played well. We handed it to them, but they played well. Take nothing away from them. They probably deserved a clean sheet, really and truly, people. VAR again, before I get into it, VAR again, every time I go Emirates or watch Arsenal, VAR makes me celebrate and then looks like a damn fool when it chalks off goals, like you saw with Luis, people. But it started off, I would describe from what I saw in the first 20 minutes really as playground football. You know, when there's not really space, man, them are chasing the ball. It became clear that, I don't think Brighton were coming and kicking us, but it's a fight. Like, if you want to win the ball and be in possession, you got to fight for this ball. It felt like one of them games. The rare times we did get on the ball, I felt we moved the ball relatively well. Not amazing, but relatively well. All game we lacked that final ball. Players are not on the same wavelength. There's several examples. Joe Willock and Aubameyang, for example, first half arguing. Lacazette, even Mesut Ozil at times. And not to name drop players, they just wasn't there. We know the transitional play is an issue at this club, and it just weren't. The final ball weren't there. We didn't really have any significant chances, really. I'd say the first 20 was really Brighton's. Brighton throughout the whole game had a number of chances, if they watch the game again in both halves, that they feel they could have scored a bit more, people. Really, in the first half, we're camped in our own half. We're playing reactive and not proactive, something I spoke of on a regular basis under UNAI. We're in our own half. I think Leno made some big saves today, but I've been saying it, people. I'm not scapegoating or anything like that, but constructive criticism. Distribution is poor throughout the whole team, but his distribution at times puts pressure on the team. He's kicking it into no man's land. He's taking too long to distribute it, and it's playing into Brighton's hands. Like that, is it Dan Burn? Forgive me if I'm wrong. Was that not the lad that was at Fulham? I swear he's a centre half by trade. He's not a left back. How many times did Aubameyang take him on? How many times did it become evidently clear that he's essentially a player being shoehorned into that position? Take nothing away, because he did well, and obviously he's been coached well, and Brighton fans will be able to tell me if he is an out-and-out left-back or if he's played there more frequently, but I'm sure he's a centre-half by trade. Take nothing away. I feel Bellerin was poor today. I'm a big Bellerin fan, but I don't feel he did enough on the overlap. Final ball poor, getting caught in possession a lot of times. I feel if we're looking at the back five, I feel Kolasinac had a decent game by his own standards. Leno made some big saves. Let's take nothing away from that. Similar to what he's been doing, because the defence is a calamity. But other than that, he was poor. We were just poor. Midfield, I think Xhaka was quite calm today, to be fair. I think I'd say Xhaka, Kolasinac, potentially Leno, if not for the distribution, for the saves, probably the best players on the field. When Pepe came on at half-time, obviously you saw a reaction. He was going forward. Obviously he's got a point to prove. He's a hot topic. He was doing what he was doing. And yeah, man, when they scored, they deserved their goal because they dominated the first half. They went close. We switched off, like I said, for their goal. We go into half-time. What is said? Fair play, there's a reaction. Like I said, the fans, if you want the fans will always be behind the club. I'm at the Emirates and we've lost again, people. But you need to give us something. It was a bit, I wouldn't say it was muted because fans were trying, but it was very muted in the first half because the team was playing like that. As soon as they're playing balls in behind and Xhaka, to be fair, Xhaka and even Luiz were the only two really trying to clip that ball over the top to Aubameyang and whatnot. Aubameyang is dying on the flanks, people, especially in the second half. You don't want, it's not that they want to do it because he's still doing it, but he's blowing people. There's a reaction. Pepe's exciting the fans. Good substitution. We did think either potentially Joe, because Ozil, you know, Ozil is majestic and all them things, would stay on the field. But Joe would probably have to be a victim in terms of bringing in Pepe. And someone's always got to miss out. I think Joe did all right today. Again, switching off a bit defensively. He worked hard. Final ball weren't quite there. And obviously, he's still a young man growing. He's developing physically. Potentially needs to hit gym a bit because he is in the trenches. But yeah, man, I think Torreira had a good game if by people's standards. I think Torreira did his thing in the midfield, kept fighting and whatnot. Can't say Torreira did anything wrong today, really. That I can't say for the whole team. Yeah, man, we got the goal. I can't lie, I thought Kolasinac scored. The announcer said it's Lacazette's, and it's Lacazette's 100th game. Obviously, it's sour, it's bittersweet, but any player that's made 100 appearances for Arsenal, we've got to take our hats off. Good memento if he scored, if it is his goal, because like I said, where I was sitting, it looked like Kolasinac people. Kolasinac picked up the balls running back with it. The announcer said Lacazette's. Truth be told, I don't know whose goal it is, people. Whoever's goal it is, we're back in the game. When Luiz scores now, people, I'm like, yeah. Because I did think second half it looked like, you know what, we're putting this thing to bed. We've been in poor form. We played this game poor. Pepe's waking up. Everyone's playing. To be fair, Bellerin's starting to get forward. And is it a shock? When he gets forward, he's a problem. We're starting to do our thing. Kolajanac's final ball isn't quite there, but he's doing his thing. It's looking like we might nick this, you know. And you can see it with Brighton and the time wasting. They're a bit nervous. But other than that little period, it was dead. Their second goal, you read the whole thing a mile off. I swear my man just cuts it in and puts it in, people. To be fair, I can't remember exactly the goal, but it's elementary. Is it Tossart or whoever his name is, when he came off the bench, Xhaka got caught in possession. And to be fair, a number of players are caught in possession and slipping and whatnot. Sort your boots out, if not for the poor decision making. But he dances past players and he shoots wide, I believe. Luiz was poor today, apart from, I believe, ball playing. I feel his ball playing was good today, but defensively, shambles. Socrates, shambles. Bellerin, do you know what? I'll give it to him looking back. He had a stronger second half, but I'd describe his as a poor performance at right back, not as poor as the centre halves. I think Kolasinac, by his own standards, he had a calm game, really. I think he answered what could be answered of his people and what not, really. I'll give credit to Bellerin as well, because I do believe he earned the corner that led to our goal as well. But ultimately, it's a poor game. There's no structure, same defensive errors. Clearly, psychologically, we've got problems as well as tactically in regards to defending. We didn't really... How many chances can we really say, clear-cut opportunities, did we really test their keeper? We're playing it a bit forward, a bit more. We're not as pragmatic as under Emery, but we still have many elements. And I know Ljungberg's not had long to train, and to be fair, he is over his head and whatnot. But if he wants to be the manager, he's got to learn from his own mistakes. Now, I think it's the players. The players talk about wanting to do this thing and that thing and come back and this, that. But at the end of the day, people, when we cut the crap, they need to show it. Never showed it today, people. Like, that's the God's honest truth. Arsenal never showed it. But he needs to learn his lesson. This isn't Arsenal where we used to force it, or essentially 11 playmakers into the side. We need to again, don't get me wrong, if it was an isolated game, like, I don't know, if we had a game plan for Man City, for example, and it included Ozil on the flank, Aubameyang on the flank, Lacazette, I'm on that sort of stuff. Run them sort of things, people. Do you get it? If we could tactically do them things when games requires, then I'm sure most fans don't have a problem with that. But when we're going into games where we've been in poor form and we've got to be on the front foot, we've got to go back to basics. Play defensive mids and DM, wingers on the wing, creative midfielders, creative role, that 10, whatever role in midfield, strikers up front. If we have to play two strikers and a winger and they're both in the middle and it looks a bit imbalanced, I'd rather that. Now, I sound like a hypocrite because Aubameyang did help out defensively. But you can see Aubameyang's doing it for the cause. But there was a couple balls over the top when Xhaka did it for Aubameyang and it worked. Couple for Lacazette, I was thinking, it's baby food for Aubameyang. He gets in behind. Like, we need to go back to basics as a club. Psychologically, I don't know how we fix it, but we need to look at how we defend. What Ljungberg is kind of over his head. I don't think he can really fix anything. I don't think the best of managers in the world, if they were given this job tomorrow, at least he'll could turn us around. For me, if anything, defensively first, because a lot of these players have bad habits and have been making bad choices. And you look at David Luiz and Socrates. I'm not to be ageist or anything, but can you teach an old dog new tricks? Really? Luiz's career, it's well documented what he is. Can you get these defensive mistakes out of him? Socrates is not a ball-playing defender. Can you get these mistakes out of him? Do you get it, people? Or can you mitigate against it? Do you see what I'm saying? Potentially, no. You look at our centre halves, it's the best of a bad bunch. Potentially, Chambers on current form, I'd probably play him. Rob Holding is my guy. He's been in poor form. I don't really have a leg to stand on, but I play him. And they're probably, for me, the defenders I would lean on to. But do I feel comfortable enough with them as a pivot? As a centre-half pairing? No. I'm more likely, ironically, whether I believe in them or not, to either put Socrates with Chambers. Not saying that's my first centre-half pairing choice, people, but I'd lean towards Holding and Luiz. Like I just said, the logic sounds a bit flawed. Chambers and Holdings would be my ones, but I'd potentially feel more comfortable with one of them with Luiz. Now, that sounds a bit hypocritical because Luiz is filled with mistakes, but I'm sure the real football fans get where I'm getting at. To be fair, you've got nothing. I don't see why, based on it by my own logic, why they would do any poorly than these lot. So yeah, I know it was. To get out the deal over the line, we let Saliba stay at St Etienne for a year, but surely this is what I said, man, like, surely it could have been worth, I said it in another video, surely, man, if there's a way of revisiting that and giving them a player on loan, whether that's Mavropanos and taking him, cool, because if nothing more from this season, you might as well blood him. I'd rather them young centre-halves like Saliba and Mavropanos go through, play these games, because at least they can in theory learn from this. I'm not saying I want them to play poor. Do I see Socrates and Luiz learning from these mistakes they've made today? No, because they're too old to learn now, man. Their careers are done now. Our young ones, we might as well just field them, but even then, it's poor. We probably need two centre-halves, people, really and truly. We definitely need a central midfielder. Personally, I think we need a right-back, someone to compete or start ahead of Bellerin. Big question marks. But there's other priorities. Leno's distribution today was poor, but I'm not even getting at him because he made saves. I think the players have to look at themselves. Ljungberg has to look at his lineups, because what he is accountable for is the lineups, and they're a bit Emery-ish if we're real. On one hand, He obviously had his own opinions, which could have differed from how Emery done things. So you would have thought he sees what Emery does wrong, applies them, learns from them mistakes and applies his thing, and we fly. But the same logic of that, people, obviously he was Emery's assistant or part of that. When you're in that environment, can you necessarily see the solution? Because you've been there doing one way of thinking and whatnot. I'm just giving you everything. Either way, we lost today, people. I don't know what to say. Spurs lost, so that's the only saving grace in that. We're all trying to get top 4, if we can get top 4, which is a myth for us. Listen, I don't know what we can do, people, because mathematically top 4 is possible. We all know we're not getting it. Europa League is wishing on a star. I would love the FA Cup, but is that anything from the season? We all know the answer. It was a terrible performance from us. I'm focused a lot on us. I want to take nothing away from Brighton, to be fair with you. They deserved their 3 points. Whatever they worked on in the week was spot on. The only problem they can potentially say is that they didn't keep a clean sheet. And maybe, obviously, on another day, if VAR's not called upon, Luiz's goal stands. From a defensive point of view, they might have seen that goal and thought, where could we do better? But yeah, they deserved their 3 points. For Arsenal, as you know, we was terrible, people, really and truly. We're not in the game, apart from a little passage in the second half. On that note, gonna get out of here. People, deluded. I'm out.